We all live our lives within bubbles. Sometimes we keep to our own, and sometimes we merge them with others. What does it take, and what happens when we as individuals set out to dissolve the barriers that keep us separate as a means for us to merge our bubbles, be love, and see each other in the moment? Matthew Silver, professional clown and Wackadoodle street performer in New York City, is on a mission to do just that. This is Skull Babylon, and you're about to listen to episode 96 of Paradigm Shift Radio, in which we welcome on our good friend Matthew Silver, whose radical, love-filled, consciousness-shifting performances have recently gone viral across the internet and are inspiring people everywhere to question and look within. Throughout the conversation, we explore a variety of angles as to why Matthew does what he does, his inspiration behind it, his motivation for doing it, and the experiences of it. Changing the world does not have to be complicated. Sometimes it just means remembering how to play along with the cosmic performance that we are all a part of. If you are new to Paradigm Shift Radio, please enjoy going back and checking out past episodes and more inspiring conscious media at ParadigmShiftCentral.com. Help continue the conversation further where you are, tell some friends, be inspired, be involved, be love, and enjoy the flow. One love. Sometimes, we have to be a little bit crazy in order to help teach the world how to be sane. And yet, evidently, that is one way as to how we change the world, with our beautiful, radical, love-filled art. This is your good buddy Brendon, aka Skull Babylon, aka Skull the Wolf, tuned in with you once again for another exciting, consciousness-expanding, educational, inspirational, love-filled episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into this. Those of you specifically, those of you who are live, and those of you, of course, who are tuned in afterwards, post the recording of this show, wherever you are. It doesn't matter. The content that we have for you tonight is going to be really, really awesome. Tonight on the show, we're going to be having our good buddy Matthew Silver on, and he is, quote-unquote, the great performer, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, and, of course, just saying hello to all the awesome people who are tuned into the show for the first time, who may have found out about it thanks to Matthew's work. And of course, who is this Matthew Silver person? Well, Matthew Silver is a guy who I was introduced to simply by just scrolling through the internet, and I came across a video, and it wasn't even tagged. It wasn't even tagged as Matthew Silver, but it was just this video that evidently someone else posted of him. And just to sort of paint the picture here, it was so beautiful. And at first glance, it just looked like a crazy person on the streets. But then you listen to him, and you listen to the words he says, and what this was. It was Matthew Silver in a recent video. It would have been within the last couple months. But there he is, some guy standing in his bathing suit in the middle of New York City. And he's going around and he's telling people, and he's got this big beard on that Socrates himself would be quite proud of. And he's saying to people, he's saying, like, love is the answer. Like, eye contact, you got to be able to connect with the power that is already inside of us. So instead of just, like, rantings of a madman, quote unquote, there's actually some conscious mindfulness and some intention behind the message that he was delivering through the role of this quote unquote crazy person. So it really, really creates this interesting idea as to are we the ones who are crazy for calling him crazy? And that's what we're going to be talking about here tonight on Paradigm Shift Radio. And we're going to be bringing Matthew on in the next moment. But just before I do that, just to be able to introduce the people who haven't tuned into Paradigm Shift Radio before, I just want to let you guys know that Paradigm Shift Radio is a branch of a bigger project at ParadigmShiftCentral.com. And the big reason why I invited Matthew onto the show tonight is because we here within the Paradigm Shift community, which is essentially anybody, just like anyone can get involved with this global project, we here encourage people to engage in the word that we have used is shiftivism. And shiftivism, as I have coined it, is the idea of planting seeds to help assist in the evolution of consciousness. So showing love and planting seeds to help assist in the evolution of consciousness. And we do things like free hugs out and about, and there's paradigm shift communities all across the world that focus on open-minded discussion that help create space for people to practice talking about the things that they don't normally get a chance to talk about. So whether that be philosophy, whether that be metaphysics, whether that be Sasquatch, UFOs, or crazy guys in their underwear running around giving people hugs, like those are the type of conversations that we want to have here on Paradigm Paradigm Shift Radio, the things that are sort of outside that normal mainstream box, because it's important. It's important to be able to think about those. So, of course, for those of you who want to check this out, go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com, and you'll find lots of videos there. As mentioned, my name is Brendon. You can find me at YouTube, youtube.com/SkullBabylon, and you'll find like the recent free hugs video that I was doing there, hacking the matrix, getting some love out to people and connecting them with this community show, with this global project. There are people who I have met doing free hugs who now have found out and are listening to the show right now because of the ability that free hugs has to bring people together, to tap in to the synchronistic nature of reality. So that's just a little bit about what the show is about. And of course, if you haven't yet, please go to facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. And of course, to check out Matthew's stuff, you want to check out his stuff at maninthewhitedress.com. And we'll get into details as to why that website is called Man in the White Dress. And to do that, we're going to bring Matthew on, and I think just to give you a heads up, we got a couple other friends. We're going to be probably hearing from our good buddies, the boys from the Love Trip. Those of you who heard about them, they're doing the free hugs tour all across Canada, and we're going to bring them back on a little bit later into the show. But for now, of course, welcome everyone. Please continue to share the show. And with that said, we're going to bring Matthew Silver, the great performer, here on the Paradigm Shift Radio to talk a little bit more about his inspiration behind the project and what he does. So, Matthew, if you're ready, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. So, here we go.
Hey!
Whoa, man. Wackadoodle do, dude.
Wackadoodle do, mother...
Mother huggers.
Mother huggers. Mother huggers.
You mother huggers. Cool, man. Welcome. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor. It really is. Cool, man. Well, Matthew, just getting things rolling here. I gave that little bit of a story, but obviously there's more to this. So just in your words, just introduce yourself to the people who are listening to you who may have no idea who you are. If you can try to explain yourself in words.
Well, you did it. You did a very good job. I am using the powers of a clown, or like a trickster, or village idiot. And I'm using it to spread the message of love, because people don't take love very seriously, because love has nothing to do with the economy, and right from when I was born, my parents and everybody, they just taught me, money doesn't grow on trees. The focus was always money. When is the focus always going to be on love? I'm not saying anything bad about money. I'm just saying, when is the focus going to be, on love? So I'm just doing, there's infinite ways to do it. So I'm just doing it in my style, because I always wanted to perform. I was always inspired by like Steve Martin and a bunch of other Andy Kaufman and all the Saturday Night Live people, and I just want to.
Exactly. That sums it up. Like, and even still, with that brief introduction I gave, it does. There's more. There's more layers to what it is that you do, which obviously is what we'll be exploring here tonight. And like you said, you play the role of the clown. You play the role of the trickster, which I think is a very, very interesting thing, because just kind of going off that and just giving people a little bit more about what you do, because the best way for those of you who haven't to understand what Matthew does, I think it's worthwhile, if you haven't yet, go check out one of his videos. If you're listening to this in the future, or even if you're listening to this live, go to maninwhitedress.com and just check out some of the videos and just have them playing in the background, so you can see the energy that Matthew is bringing to the audience, and what he's doing. He's interacting with strangers, but he's doing it in such a dynamic way that he's also inviting them to play along, and it's super. It really is. It's really interesting. But yeah, like Matthew, just kind of going on the idea of you consciously doing this to fill the role of the trickster and the clown. Do you want to just explain a little bit about more of what that role is within society?
Yes, it's an amazing role, and that's why I carry around the sign of Love Portal. A portal is like an opening, and and an opening is almost like an illusion, but it's real, and it's a thing. It's like how our minds divide things, like bad or good, or spiritual or material, when in reality, the real reality, everything is one. So what the trickster is doing, he's a wackadoodle, you know. He's like he messes everything up. He opens the door, and then all the worlds get, you know, left in the right brain world get mixed up into one, and then people don't know what's going on. You know, I believe that if there should be a strong shift in perception to love, because and I always have this belief that something very weird and strange, you know, needs to happen. Something that entertains our souls. You know, something, to me, I guess it's this thing that makes the entire world laugh at nothing. It's just laughter, but there's no like real reason for it. But imagine if the entire world were to laugh, like I believe that would like open up a consciousness to love. You know, when people laugh, they just, you know, if everybody's in a good mood in the room, that all of a sudden other people open up. You know, people just, you know, when I've been in that situation, when everybody's laughing, all of a sudden it feels comfortable to just hug people and act stupid, and nobody's judging anybody. And it's not because the people are drinking beer or smoking pot. It's a real, natural, organic thing. Mm-hmm. So that's what, you know, that's what inspires me.
Yeah.
The mythology of a trickster. I recommend this book called Trickster Makes This World. And I also recommend this other book called Return to Love by Mariana Williamson.
Yeah, like the mythology of the trickster is something I'd love to, if you have more that you want to share on that throughout the show, I would love to hear that, because I mean, you know, like obvious sort of trickster roles. I mean, when I think of the trickster, I think of like the symbolic meaning of like the fool within the tarot card deck, and what that sort of means, and I know you know, some people who are into tarot would be able to interpret that in that way, and I like what you were saying, you know, with the idea of the trickster or the clown. Or the fool being like the crossroad between the yin and the yang, and to me, I think what is extra appropriate and incredibly just like right up to par with what Paradigm Shift Radio is about is that, like, here we have a person who is intentionally embodying this role of the space between the yin and the yang, and this episode coincidentally, or rather synchronistically to be accurate, fell on episode 96. And to me, I've always had a resonance with the number 96, and I always see the number 96 as the yin-yang symbol, like as above, so below, you know, that sort of thing. And so that, just kind of on a side note, like I think that's really interesting that the universe brought us together coincidentally right on episode 96 for this to happen, to be able to share this story. Because I think the important thing that people get from your story is it gives people an opportunity to let go of impressions, of preconceived notions. And again, you know, like with what you're doing, you are like the one who's in control. And then you're inviting like the audience to sort of let go of their control, sort of thing. And that reminds me a lot of what you said, you know, your inspiration is people like Andy Kaufman. I would think, I mean, you mentioned the SNL cast and stuff. Like I would automatically associate what you're doing right up there with things like Jim Carrey or even Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman, perhaps. But, you know, Jim Carrey was also a very conscious guy, and he understood the power of like what playing a role and what laughter can do to really just like alleviate it and let people go. But just backstepping a little bit, explain to us just like some of the passion that you brought into this. Like, how long have you been doing this? Because I know it's been a while. And what was it like when you first started doing this? I mean, obviously you must have had some obstacles, like, you know, within yourself. and how did you sort of dissolve those obstacles within yourself as you started to put yourself out there more and more?
I've been doing this for on and off 9 years, more consistently the last 5 years. And yeah, I 9 years ago, or when I started, it was really hard because I was still in the world of judgment. Like that's where a lot of people. That's why a lot of people aren't free, because they judge, and then and the people who judge probably judge themselves harshly. So I was doing it. I was outside, and I just kept, my head would go negative energy in my own head, and I would see people, and I would think they were like, whenever anything bad happened, I'd get depressed, thinking I was doing a terrible job. But after eventually, you keep reminding yourself, that you're doing this for a good intention. You only live once. Your life is important. You keep repeating positive mantras. I didn't have a mentor. We need a mentor system, a teacher system, but the teacher system doesn't work. It doesn't work because people aren't teaching people that you already know. By doing this for 9 years, I found out I already know. I know. You know love, silliness and love the strongest when you're born. You're people don't teach you that you already succeeded, and then you get confused into this world of wrong and right. That the trick is that you keep doing it, and you'll figure something out just by being patient, and you'll figure out that one thing that makes people laugh a lot is silence. You put in a lot of energy, and it's the silence that wakes people up more than the shouting. But I do both. But that I hope that answered your question.
Oh, I mean, yeah. And it's not even, it's not even just about answering the question. I think in the it's kind of almost stepping back and looking at this from the Socratic point of view. It's not necessarily about getting to the answer of the question. It's in the process of answering the question that we gain the growth. That is where the growth is. And I think that's where, really just kind of looking at this, you yourself, you are a question. Mark, people see you and they're just what? This doesn't fit into my normal reality. And again, it makes you become that reflective lens for the other people to see themselves. Just kind of, I'm sure you've got lots of stories you can share with us, but generally, you said it yourself, what are the simple things that you're trying to remind people of through your performance?
Well, wake up. You only live once. Love has always been the message and the answer. You don't want to live a life where you're gonna miss it. You're gonna be dreaming, and you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss all the great positive things. We're missing a lot. We're missing the paradigm shift is so important. We're missing this connection that we could grow as a planet that would, raise all our consciousness. We're stuck in this world of what's mine and what's yours. This pride, acting like a fool or performing. Really, it's a magical thing. It's magic. People. I do a show. I do a show also. And it's about people are missing performance. It's become our entertainment is go to a bar and listen to this loud music. You can't even hear people talk. The real technology is how people interact with each other. That's it. I just want to grow in that metaphysical technology. It's telepathic. We aren't developing telepathic powers because we're using this tech. I'm using the technology, so I guess I'm a hypocrite. But I can't. I'm sorry. What? I lost my train of thought. You're asking me about performance.
Yeah.
I wake people up and they laugh. They look at me. Some of them they start like cry laughing, and they think I'm a strange man. And yeah, I look like a strange man. I'm wearing a Speedo, of course. So I use that to help wake them up and make them laugh. The intent, I realize if I'm going to do something public, you got to be aware, you got to be safe. And I remind myself, love is the intention, love now and laughter, keep it simple,
Mhm. Yeah. And you're what you do, I think it's quite effective, and I think even just looking back on the success of some of your videos that have been really just going throughout the internet in a lot of viral fashions, and as we mentioned, like some of them weren't even posted by you, which is really cool because with today's technology, it becomes like this like collective storytelling process where other people. You become a character in their story. A friend will be like, oh, I was being a tourist going through New York, and then I ran into this guy, and it was unlike anything I'd ever seen. And obviously, like you, that guy being you, that clown, that trickster, and then they have this story to tell, and then they take it with them, and it can really just radically plant a seed that, like you said, I mean. A big part of people who have been tuned into Paradigm Shift Radio in the past, and I think this is a process that all of us are a part of. This is this process of remembering and remembering like what it is that we innately know, and like that's something that I really liked within it was one of your videos, and I think it was actually one from a while back, but you were talking about like how you're trying to remind people of like the energy that they already have. And you're like, I am here to like teach you nothing. I mean, that was in the same one that I saw the first time and everything like that. But I think that's really such an important thing is that like just the wisdom behind some of the stuff you say, whether it's like. Do you feel like, I mean, with the character, with the role that you get into, do you feel that you almost become sort of like in a trance yourself, and you just start saying things without really fully like thinking about like what it sounds like, but you just know that you need to say it at the time? Does that happen within your performance?
Yeah. I mean, it's something. It's a power that we all have. It's like tapping into the cosmic energy. It's there. It's just and then you're in the moment. I'm doing this for like 5 to 7 hours, straight. And I take a break, but you just keep repeating, and then all of a sudden, it all becomes about the timing, the spacing, the pausing, and
Yeah. I'm just kind of looking over some of the stuff. Like, I mean, even in, I like what you said, the idea that you specifically use the term, like, love portal. Because that's something where, like, with the stuff that I've been doing with my own practices, doing free hugs, I think the big thing that we want to be able to encourage people collectively is that you don't have to sit back on the internet and watch someone like Matthew do what he does and watch, like, any of what I'm doing through Paradigm Shift Radio. Like, we encourage you to go out there and to create your own portals, to like use art as a portal to be able to like invite people into that experience, that awakening process. And I think like there's a lot of layers to this. One that I always sort of remind people of is the idea that like we're not just our physical bodies. And that's the idea that, again, we hear this so often, but like, like we're a soul experiencing human, not a human experiencing having a soul sort of thing. But like through that, it taps into this idea of like our potential within reality. But a big process before we really tap into that potential is being able to like let go and letting go of like ego and things like that. What has been some of the responses that you've had from people, kind of like from the multiple ends of the spectrum, so to speak? I'm stories you've had. Like, have you had some people who are like upset at you for doing what you do? Have you ever had that? And then like the opposite.
Okay, there was only one bad incident that happened like 2 years ago. And it's on my press page on the internet. He's a tall guy. He said, I don't want you to perform here. You can't wear a Speedo because of the children. And he said that when I had a big crowd in front of me, and there's a video footage of the crowd, and a drummer, and the whole crowd was they liked what I was doing, and there was like children there too or whatever. And this tall guy, all of a sudden, he thinks he's a representative of all the children, and he kept bothering me for a month, and I just I finally I said fine, I won't wear a Speedo, so I wore something that covered me more, and I came back to and he still bothered me even though I was wearing something more. So I realized this guy was just a bully. He was a bully, and I said, look, I'm allowed to be here too, or whatever. And so finally I just went back to wearing the Speedo, and I kept. And after like a month and a half, I don't see him at all in the park, and I actually found out that he got arrested for harassing a woman.
Huh.
So it's like the people that have judged me the worst are I start to see them, and they're actually people that are very they're people that are worse off than themselves. So that's interesting to me. The people that they're not there's something wrong with them. They judge. The more I do it, the more sane I feel.
Yeah.
So that's why people should have the courage to do their thing, because don't stop doing anything in your life because you're scared people are going to look at you and call you stupid. I mean, one problem is people go to like school or elementary school, and you're in this small isolated world where you think you know the entire world, but it's just your friends. And maybe some of your friends are very, very, my friends in the beginning were very, very judgmental of other people, and because of that, I didn't be the all the wackadoodle I could be, and I was a very silly person, and I loved making people laugh. So, but it's good. I came back. I've heard a lot of stories of how people's lives are. I've met them. I've met people that are like droids. They're too scared to be themselves. And in every conversation, they're just like shaking for no reason at all.
Mm-hmm.
So do your art, fart out your heart, because if you don't, you're definitely not gonna experience the world. You're gonna, I took a bike ride across the country, and most of the world, it's because people. Because they don't have any money, but there's no, they're not even, a lot of people don't believe in the wasteland, don't believe because, you don't have money that you can't make magic, it's just me in a Speedo out on the park, with a cardboard sign, and I've been spotted. You don't need state-of-the-art technology. Well, that's it,
Yeah, like I think that's what's another part that's really, really cool about what you do is that a lot of and again, just giving a visual for those of you who may not be too familiar with Matthew's stuff, a lot of what you do, you're interacting with props, you're interacting with costumes, and a lot of these props and costumes are things that would otherwise have been like thrown away and stuff like that. Like, is that how it is usually?
Yeah, no, I find it on the street.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, which is, just a really cool thing of, like someone else's garbage becoming something that can be used as a tool for inspiring people in a lot of ways. But yeah, I was going to ask you, I'll ask you a question, and then I think we're going to bring on our buddy Michael Brazel, and he's going to get involved with this conversation too. I know he's got some insight and experience on the role of the fool within all this. But I was going to ask you, Matthew, what does it mean to you, or what does it feel like to have others see you as an inspiration for following your dream?
Following what? Say again?
For being an inspiration for people, so whether just in general or to just within the idea of like following your dreams, because I know that
following my dreams,
following your dreams, like for people just encouraging people to follow their dreams, or just what is
yeah. I mean that's who everybody is, That's what we find out as we keep doing our own thing. That's what everybody is. It feels good to know that people are gonna do their magic. I mean that's what we are. We inspire other people. It's you can't get away from that. It feels good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's definitely it's really it's inspirational, and it's also contagious, because for me personally, to you, like what you do takes a lot of courage, and that's something that I think more people will be able to step into when they see what it is that you're doing, and doing it from like such a love filled angle as well. It really is changing the world, and again, even just through this conversation here, being able to get the story out there and being able to share with other people that people such as yourself exist, people such as yourself who genuinely care about helping make this world a better place by simply just being the love that they wish to see in the world. And that's as simple as it really needs to be, and then just adding your own personality and your own styles on top of it. It gets very interesting. But yeah, Matthew, we'll bring on our buddy Michael, and then I think we may have the Love Trip boys on in a little bit, and we're just going to continue to flow around this conversation, keeping in mind that this isn't necessarily just like us interviewing Matthew here. Matthew is just like a part of the conversation and stuff like that. And a little bit later in the show, or even now, if you guys want, post a comment if you have a question that you would like us to forward to Matthew on. Just to make it easier, those of you in the live chat through Blog Talk, send a private message to the Paradigm Shift Radio profile in Blog Talk. And I'd be curious to hear more, Matthew, just about like some of like your own like I know we were talking before, like you're really interested. You've read some like Alan Watts and some other artists and authors and things like that. I'd be curious just to sort of explore. I mean, there's quite a few ways that we can take this, but very cool stuff as it is right now. And just reminding as we continue to get moving along here. And around the top of the show, I'll touch base with you guys, and I'll let you know about the opportunity to win some free consciousness shifting buttons that we give away here on a weekly basis at Paradigm Shift Radio. So I'll explain those. Those are some super awesome things. They got some really cool conscious symbolism on them that you can use to help share with friends and plant seeds to help assist in the awakening of consciousness. So we'll bring Michael Brazel on, and we'll continue this conversation here. And this is really cool stuff. So with that said, we're gonna bring Michael onto the air. So Michael, if you're ready, and Michael's one of our regulars here. Hello,
hey.
Michael. Hey, dude.
Howdy.
Welcome back. Cool, man.
Glad to be back.
Glad to have you. So, Michael, I sent you a link for one of Matthew's videos. Had you seen stuff prior to me sending you that link, or was that new to you?
Oh yeah. No, I'd seen him before.
Yeah.
Great. I think it's definitely a form of spiritual activism that catches people's attention. We live in such a distracted society that when you can do something that snaps people out of their reality into a realer reality, it causes people to pause. And having worked for people for the ethical treatment of animals, I used to do all the street theory events, and my job was to go out and do these different events that would help shift people's ideas around animal rights and vegetarianism and the different issues involving animal rights. And even now with the tattoos on my face, anything that we can do to cause people to step outside of the framework of, their ego self or their distractions lets them engage conversation. It helps to wake them up a bit. It helps to allow us to be of service. And I think that's definitely something that's needed now.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, and it does. It definitely does start conversation. Matthew, I mean, at any point, just feel free to jump in and just add, steer this ship along with us. I was going to ask you, like, what are some conversations that you've had with people doing what you do? Like maybe some of the more heartfelt conversations that have come up from people approaching you during your performance.
What do you mean? Like, I've just, a lot of people just say, "Well, love what you do." You're really doing something special, A lot of people they go, "Hey, I didn't understand it at first. I just thought you were some kind of crazy guy, or But the good thing is that love is infinite, and people. Like you said, I become part of their story, so they see me again, and eventually the story unfolds. They find out who the character is, the guy, Matthew Silver,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of good feedback, and then you every once in a while you get somebody who's so resistant to it, they just go like that guy's just an idiot. You're just an idiot.
Yeah, but even still, though, I think those are the people. Like those people are equally there to see what you're doing. They're equally important. Because even if they just like see it and sort of try to ignore it, it's still going into their consciousness. I think that's just kind of a really cool idea. Is that like what you're doing is literally sending out that ripple of love that is affecting like anyone within that vicinity, whether they're immediately engaging with you or just passing by and just trying to ignore it, but still having that thought in the back of their head and just be like what the heck, like that's so different from like my business wearing suit lifestyle sort of thing, which I think is really, really, very cool. But Michael, do you have anything you just want to add? We're going to bring on our love trip buddies in the next minute. So go ahead.
The people that are the most conflicted when they see something like someone like Matthew playing that role, or someone like when I was doing the stuff that I was doing, and I've been on street corners and boxes and lizards, and you stop people, and the people who are the most conflicted are typically the ones who are going to be the most open to change, because you challenge something in them, and now it's causing them to have to reflect on where they currently are, and it somewhat cracks that shell a bit. And it's typically those people when you can approach them and have that conversation. So if anyone's like scared to get out there and do this stuff, start with like the free hug stuff, because that's a way to really kind of open up and soften your heart, and it helps you to open up to other people. But this is something that interpersonal human connection that we're all craving on some level. And when you can have those conversations, and when you can challenge thought, and you can challenge where people are in a very positive way. So you're not like out there yelling at people, but you are having fun while doing it, so it doesn't have to be something so serious. When I was doing protesting, it's like I never called them protests. They were always just demonstrations, and it was demonstrating how much we love what we did, and that brought people across. And when you're able to meet people halfway, you're able to have conversations and open hearts. And even if there's not agreement, you can walk away with the conversation, so you can at least start the process of being able to communicate. And I think that's what street theater does, and that's what these types of things do. So get out there and do it. It's a lot of fun.
For sure.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, totally. What?
Oh, I'm just saying, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying I agree. Go out and do it, you people that are listening. Come on. Let's do it together.
And again, people are saying, well, do what? Do what? The simple, as Michael said, the simple tactic that we suggest, the simple technique, the simple way of doing it is standing there with the free hug sign. And whether or not you're just doing it for free hugs, or whether or not you're trying to do it to invite people to be a part of a local paradigm shift community or anything like that, just do it, not only for them, but also for you. Because naturally, within that first experience, you'll find a part of yourself being like, oh my God, this is crazy. What the hell am I getting myself into? But then 2-3 hugs in, you'll be like, holy crap, I just made that person smile. That made a difference in that person's life. And I think, Matthew, I read somewhere within your website, when somebody asks you, why do you do this? And you said, the answer is simple. I love to make people laugh. And I think that is so true. That is so cool. It's such a cool thing. Go ahead. If you got something to jump in on, go ahead, yeah.
No, that's what keeps us doing what we do. It's you get really excited about the small things. If someone's if someone's laughing, that's your reward for doing what you do. If someone's smiling, if someone hugs you, that's it. No one's gonna give you a big, reward. It's the small rewards that make life more interesting. It's not, and they got us, the culture is after the big thing. You know what I'm saying?
What was the last part? The big thing?
Yeah, they're after the big thing. Nobody. That's why love is so important, because it reminds you of what's important: eye contact, smiling, laughter, hugs, kisses. Sharing a moment with a friend while eating, or seeing. Just being with people. That's what matters. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Man.
We're saying the same thing. That's all.
It is.
Sorry.
No, nothing to be sorry about. Absolutely not. It's you're right. It's breaking that social bubble that so many of us have been building up over the years, and that's what happens. When you, especially, I think it's super important that you're doing this in a place like New York, because if stuff like this can happen in New York, it can happen anywhere. New York is a great microcosm of the macrocosm, as is even a lot of places. Just those of you curious, I myself am in London, Ontario, Canada, which is a little bit north of Detroit, but London is a very interesting microcosm of the macrocosm too. But obviously within New York, there's a lot of people who are totally in that their own bubble, and they're just bouncing off other bubbles, but rarely do these bubbles actually merge with another person's bubble, unless it's someone who they're already friends with. So I think that is a really magical thing, even from the metaphysical perspective, because it brings in that idea of those of you who are familiar with sacred geometry, the study of sacred geometry, the study of patterns throughout nature, the study of how plants grow, how we as a biological being grow, and one of the first steps is it starts off when you can have one circle, and then you can have two circles, and then those two circles, they overlap with each other, and they create that space in the middle called the Vesica Piscis, which in itself looks like a seed. And I've always thought of that as being quite simple as a metaphor for saying that when two people's bubbles merge, it creates that seed to birth a new reality. So it literally, I get into this phrasing where I talk about altering the timelines and stuff like that, kind of sort of quasi scientific comic book style. But it really is that true that it's so easy for people to just go about their day and ignore stuff. It's outside of the norm for them to be able to merge their bubble with someone else. So I think it takes a lot of skill, in a sense, for someone to be able to succeed in that. And I think that's where, with what Matthew is doing, you need that radicalness. You need something to be so different that it will get people's attention in that initial hook, and it will make them curious, and it will invite them into the ability to be able to get involved a little bit further, and to say hey, I almost forgot what it was like to be human for a second, and then they, next thing they know, they're standing there interacting with Matthew, and they become a part of the show. And that's another thing that I really like with what you do. You're constantly engaging with your audience and stuff like that, which is something that a great performer does. So it's very cool stuff. And just setting this up, we're going to bring on our buddies from Israel in the next minute. Just checking in, though, Matthew or Michael, is there anything you guys just want to add in on anything said? Or new points, even?
Just get out there and just start wherever you feel the most comfortable, or even the most uncomfortable. Because when I started doing this stuff, it brought so much fear that I never wanted to do it, but it was my job, so I had to do it. But once you start doing it and you realize that it's not so bad, and you get to meet people, and some of the people I met along the way I'm still really close friends with, and it's been 4 or 5 years since I've done that work professionally. But it really helps you to open up to having those conversations with like your family or other people. That you may not be able to talk about your spirituality or whatever it is, your free hugs. Like, so a lot of times we go out and we do free hugs on the streets, but we don't hug our family as much. So, it may open up like a whole nother level of thinking for you. So it's not just about you getting out in the world and changing the world, but it's about you changing yourself in the process. So get out there and change everything and hug people.
No, right. No, that keep it simple. And I would also say never believe that don't believe that you're shy. Like a lot of people that say they're shy. I was very shy for a long time, and I believed it like it was a mental block. So you do this stuff, you get rid of the mental blocks, and that's a very important thing.
Yeah, and one of the things, Matthew, we had talked briefly before, but you said, you were talking about puppy dogs, and just like so much of what you do is just inviting people to play and tapping in with the inner child and stuff like that. And I think we'll sit on that point. We'll get back to it in a second, but I think that's a very important thing, is just being able to reconnect with our inner child, with that inner child who innately knows what love is, and we'll talk about like how culture sort of moved us away from that, and again how what we're doing here, what we're talking about tonight, is transforming that system, from within, is shifting the paradigm as we speak. So with that said, just checking in with everyone, just a reminder, check out Matthew's stuff at maninwhitedress.com, and the reason behind that, as mentioned, is because Matthew has worked through many costumes. One of them, I guess one of the ones that you started with, was sort of the iconic white dress. And yeah, like we'll set this up because I know we'll return to it, and I know you got like other costumes that I've seen you wearing where you're literally in like a superhero costume with a heart on your chest, which I love because I totally like I'm in that line with the whole superhero type thing to begin with. But again, check out maninwhitedress.com for Matthew's main website, and then you can also follow him on Facebook and connect with him at facebook.com/maninwhitedress, and also of course on YouTube at youtube.com/maninwhitedress. So we made it pretty easy for you. It's all there, and you can check that out, and there's lots of inspirational videos there, and yeah, really cool stuff. So with that said, we're going to bring on some of our good friends. Those of you who have tuned into Paradigm Shift Radio in the past know exactly who we're talking about. Those of you who have not, let me just introduce you real quick. There are some good friends of ours who are part of Paradigm Shift Israel. So as mentioned, there are Paradigm Shift communities all across the world. They focus on open-minded discussion and promoting love and helping shift consciousness. Our good buddies who found out about Paradigm Shift Radio just Paradigm Shift in general a few years ago, started Paradigm Shift Israel, and then they had friends in Canada, and they decided to come to Canada to engage in a road trip where they were going to do free hugs across Canada as a social experiment, as an act of spiritual activism, as an act of shiftivism, to be able to connect with the people there and to document it and to share this amazing story and to experience for themselves, and to be able to share what it is that they have gone through and the amazing realities that they have manifested. The information for them that you can check out, go to facebook.com/GoLoveTrip. So check that out if you haven't yet. If you like Matthew Silver's work, these guys are doing, it's within the same realms of, just being that radical love-filled art within the world. So check that out, and of course they got a GoFundMe page at gofundme.com/GoLoveTrip. So with that said, we're going to bring them on in the next second, and I believe they are calling in live from Montreal. So they were in London, Ontario, and they've been going east for the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure they've got a couple stories to stories to share, and I know they're also big fans of what Matthew's doing too. So with that said, we're going to bring on our buddies Alon, Oz, and Avi onto Paradigm Shift Radio once again. So guys, if you're ready, we're bringing you onto the radio show, and here we go.
Hello, recording live from Montreal. It's the Team Love Trip. After a crazy free hug session at the park, it was an awesome day, and we love you all. How are you?
We're good, man. You guys sound like you're having fun, so good to have you back on air.
Yeah, we just want to say, well, I've listened to what you've talked about just now, and I literally can say that I have nothing to add, because that's exactly what we do. Like, we hack the matrix through eye contact and breaking social taboos, you know, like separation, and hugging is cool, and this show that we do, like Matthew has a show. We were doing kind of a show too. We're just and it's really cheap too. You know, we just bought a sign and draw on it like free hugs, and that's how much it costs. That's it. And people are confused about this so much. You know, like, what is this? Are you sure? There's no interest, no commercial, no nothing. Are you just doing this? And we really ask us, like, why are we doing this? And they're always asking with a smile, so we're answering like you're smiling, so that's why we're doing it, you know? And it just really connects between people and really changes people's days and energies and the moment that we've seen, like, I want to share a story that you sent me I never knew Matthew before and his work, and you send it to me a few days ago, about a week ago. And I was like, wow, you know, this is crazy. This is amazing. And the moment me and the guys seen the video, we saw that Matthew was so real, so sure, so not giving a damn about anything that people are reacting. You know, he's so confident in what he's doing that people don't react in fear. They act, I mean, not in the same video that we've seen. They act with love, because they're seeing like this super, not crazy, but really sane person. He knows exactly what he's doing, and deep inside, people are conflicted because their mind's saying, oh my God, it's crazy to go with a drum into a store and sing, but their heart says, oh, this is totally normal. He knows he's doing it with love, and people connect to him, and that's amazing. We connected so much to that video, and the funny thing is that a few days later, some Israelis shared this video all over, you know. So I was like, oh, it's funny because someone been sending this video of about a week ago. So, you know, this has gone viral. And we as free huggers, we do it daily, and we connect it to Matthew's work so much. And everything that you and Michael and Matthew talked about in the last half hour was exactly what we've been experiencing through our trip. And just to tell you like a few stories, today, the moment we started the free hug, the moment we actually picked up the sign in the center of Montreal, there was a big festival here, and this guy just literally jumped on us with happiness, and he just took a sign, and he was with us all day long, like 3 hours. He did 3 hugs, and he was so amazing. Like, he got so many hugs, and just explained about why he connects with the idea, and he really helped us, you know, bringing the vibes up. And there was this girl who was really inspired by us, because we were just saying, it's so simple, just like to connect between people. She just started to sing in her own language, in Arabic, like this praise song for life and for God, and blessing us, and it was amazing. And one more, just like a short story from today. We went to eat in this restaurant near, and just a simple eye contact. You know, Oz just looked at the guy that sat behind us, and he looked at us, and we kept this look. You know, we didn't like shut it off or just like keeping our own business. We kept looking at him. Yeah, and he was like, "Who are you guys?" And we said and we started talking. And he said, "Oh, you're doing free hugs? So I know just the type of people that really need hugs." And he gave us the address of where the homeless people of Montreal go to take breakfast food and money and clothes. And we're going to do free hugs tomorrow with homeless people. You know, tomorrow at 8 a.m. in the morning. So like this connections, the simple eye contact created another chance of another possibility of connecting even more people and uniting even more people and spreading the love and spreading the energy. So a simple eye contact, that's a butterfly effect right there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, that's awesome, guys. It's great to hear from you. It's great to hear the success. You guys are doing an amazing job on your adventure. And I just kind of wanted to. Sorry, guys, I'm just gonna have to mute you. We just got extra static, but I'll just bring you back on as I'm sort of passing it back to you guys. But just bringing this back. Also to Matthew. Matthew, I'd be curious, and just if you have any response to even just anything that the boy said. But have you ever worked specifically with like a free hug sign, or is that something that you could see like working into your performance? I'd be super curious and excited to see how that would work for you.
Well, I just use it part of the character. I'm more about developing like a character that I can pursue in the future. I'm very, I'll just be like, oh, hi, how you doing? You want a hug? And here I am, I have this hairy body and a Speedo, and the truth is, it's like, I don't mind if people say they don't want to hug me, because I'm really like, I'm sweating, I'm dripping like a wet dog. I've worked hugged in the project, but probably not at the same level as you guys. But that's pretty amazing. That's pretty cool. The stories and stuff, like eye contact is like, that's what's important to me. Like the eye contact is a window to the soul. I'm always looking. I'm looking for that to interact with me. I don't just approach random people. If I do, it could be a big mistake, because maybe that person's not into me being so close.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, we're still here. Oh, that's good. That's good, man. Yeah, and actually, I'm kind of interested, because you mentioned it there. Like, you actually want to be able to like evolve the character that it is that you're working with and stuff like that. Could you share like how you feel that the character has evolved over the recent years, and maybe how you yourself have evolved through creating this character in the process?
Well, I've become very good at interacting with people and knowing when to keep a distance and when to engage and interact. You start to use like your animal, your intuition. You grow your third eye, or I don't know, your sixth sense, get in on the act. I don't know if that helps.
No.
Answer it.
I mean, in just even what you said there, I think that's actually a really cool thing. I'm sure Alon and the boys will be able to just sort of give their own experience on that. Like what you said, the idea that you actually you begin to become like more aware of other people's energies in the process, and you can say like, hey, like that person's someone who I could engage with right now, whereas like that guy is like clearly kind of, like he's got his focus is somewhere else, so you're not going to chase after him, sort of thing. And I don't think anything with what you're doing should be a process where you would ever need to chase after anyone, because I think what works with you is that you're in one spot, and then the universe is constantly bringing people like past you, and through that synchronistic nature, the ones who are like meant to interact and engage with you are the ones who will choose to. Like what's really cool is that it sort of reminds me of like the idea of like be water, in the sense that you're going with the flow, and that you're not having to use any force in order to be able to still be very effective with what it is that you do. Now, just kind of segueing this, I mentioned earlier just like the theme, the whole theme of being able to like relinquish, or maybe not relinquish, but just like tap into that inner child that is within us. Matthew, I'd just be curious as to what, like, just anything that you have to say on that and how that's worked into what it is that you do. That's clear. Hello, Matthew? Oh, hello. Are you, Michael, you're still here, yeah?
Yep, still here.
Is Matthew still here? Okay, all right. Okay, Matthew, I don't know if you had your stuff muted. I'll try and get that sorted out. But let me just swing back to Alon and the boys, and we'll just get Matthew figured out in a second. So
I'm back.
Oh, you're back. Okay, hold on. Okay, sorry. Matthew, did you hear my question?
No. What was your question?
Okay, sorry. No, I was just looking to touch upon like the whole theme of just like tapping into the inner child and kind of what you were talking about before, the idea of like playing around like puppy dogs when we were young. I'm just anything that you have to share on just like the importance of that message, that theme within what it is that you're trying to do and with people.
It's important that we don't become it's not good that we become strict. It's important that we, just let loose, be lighter, you invite the silliness within, a lot of times my dad thought, I was acting silly all the time, and he was angry at me, and I had this whole thing on my head, like, should I be careful of how I act, or, but, people, we need to be comfortable with just allowing people to be themselves. If they, they sound, people judge people and they call them weird, or if they don't like how they act, or, I don't know. I hope that helps. I'm sorry.
It's all good, man. It's all good. But yeah, I think just Michael, what do you think about the whole how doing things like what Matthew does, how does that sort of like tie into the theme of just tapping into our inner child and the importance of what that plays in our development, our spiritual and personal development? Michael, are you still there?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Sorry,
I was muted.
Okay. We're good.
Yeah. So I think it's important to let go a little bit. I think we all live pretty serious experiences. We're all going through whatever it is we're going through, and things aren't getting easier. But when we can let go a little bit and explore the fun side of life, getting out and doing something like free hugs or dressing up in a costume, and like we go out and dress up in costumes and pass out vegetarian starter kits, or you're going out and tattooing your face and walking around downtown. You're able to explore that edge of your comfort zone, and when you do that, you're inviting that inner child out to play. And even just doing that within your own experience, like one of the tools I'd have a lot of my clients do is go buy some coloring books and color in the coloring book. Go outside of lines. Do something that kind of shocks yourself out of the mundane experience and let yourself have a little bit of fun. And it doesn't always have to be so spiritual or so serious, because it is all spiritual. And sometimes it's necessary to be serious. But when you see someone like Matthew getting out and you can see like he's really having fun with it. There's a seriousness to it, but there's also a lot of fun behind that, and people are laughing, and other people are going to be shocked, and other people are going to be opposed to it. But that's the beauty of it. It's not about the reaction. It's just about getting out there and exploring whatever your edge is, and allowing that inner child to come out and play a bit more. And let's just have fun. I think we get too serious sometimes with all this stuff. It's great just to have fun with it. It doesn't always have to be so serious or so heavy. Mm-hmm. Life already is.
Right. Right.
So I have a question for Matthew, actually.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. How different is your own just Matthew experience from the characters that you are engaging when you're out doing the street theater? How different are you from those characters? Or are they all just you, or an extension of you?
You know what? I have to say I'm a serious. It's weird. I'm a serious person. I'm serious about not being serious. Like I'm a very punctual person. I keep a calendar. it's important for me to be out on the street at certain hours and to take a break, and then you know, I try to be as disciplined as I can about the thing. So I mean, I don't know, you know, it's weird. It's like I want to perform this character where I'm a free spirit Wackadoodle, but the truth is, in real life, I mean, you can't always be, you know, you can't always be a Wackadoodle, but it's definitely something that's necessary in life. I don't know. Did I answer your question, Mike?
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's great.
But yeah. So you know, I turn on a character and I turn off a character.
Mm-hmm. It's like a good balance of you and the other parts of you.
Right. The truth is, there was one time when I was younger, I dreamed that I was going to be the character all the time, but it wasn't socially. It wasn't working out for me because if I'm that character all the time, I can't have you know, like normal like conversations like what we're having right now. Mm-hmm. And then you got to reach a middle ground with people. You know, you'll act wacky at these hours, and then be quote unquote normal on those hours or whatever. You know, you got to find a middle ground because a lot of part of the project is also, like you said, a lot of it is communication and eye contact, and so. Mm-hmm. I hope that answers. Sir.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good, man. I really liked there was one video that there was from a YouTube channel, and I think it was called Know Your City, and it was all about different people in New York, and you can find this through Matthew's website also. But there was just a really cool shot because like it was you doing all your thing throughout most of the video, and then the end shot was like them following you like as you were taking the subway home, and you were just carrying all your gear, and you were just standing there, and you were just a regular bearded guy wearing a t-shirt, and at that point, you know, no one's gonna just like call you crazy or anything like that. So it was just really interesting to just see that, like, yes, this is a role, this is a character that you can step into, that you can sort of turn into at different points. Now I do want to bring on the Love Trip Boys in the next couple of minutes. I was just putting out the opportunity for people in the live chat to ask some questions for Matthew, and there were a couple there, and there was one, and we'll try and get through a couple of them, but one person was asking, Studio 33, they were asking, how do you stay in the moment? What do you do to help you stay in the moment as a comic when something unexpected happens when you're out there doing your thing? If you have an answer for that, maybe.
Well, breathing helps, and not to if you're in the habit of judging you know your behavior or somebody else's behavior, you got to remove all judgment. There's this improv game that a lot of people use. It's called yes and you got to be in the habit of just going with it. You know, like yes and you know sometimes it might not work, but you go with it because you'll find a way for it to work if you're patient, you know. So I mean, it's not the same thing as like I've performed on a stage. It's not the same thing as performing in the park. It's not on the street. It's not the same thing as a stage. It's more of performing in the park is more a lot of times a one-on-one deal. On a stage, you're in front of 20 or 30 people, and you know you only have like 10, 15 minutes to perform on. But you know that I mean I hope that's it. Breathing and playing the yes and game and no judgment whatsoever.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Now, just going back a bit, when I was talking, like, within the introduction, it sort of just, I was thinking it, but I just didn't say it. You know, there is the video, that one of the videos that went viral, because there's a couple, obviously, at this point, but one of them was the video that a lot of people are familiar with, and it's you going into the store and it was like Forever 21 or whatever, and you were specifically going in there and you were banging, I think it was like a rubber chicken on a drum or something, but you were saying like over and over again in a song, you were saying like, love is the answer, stop buying stuff. Love is the answer, stop buying stuff. First of all, I just wanted to like applaud you and just say that, you know, again, like something like that takes a lot of balls, takes a lot of courage. It's so radical, but that radicalness is why people, especially people on the internet, they just ate it up. There's like, oh yeah, this is awesome, you know, like I'm not going to be the crazy guy who goes and does this, but I'm glad that somebody is playing that role of the person who is willing to put themselves out there and to do that. And Matthew, I'd just be curious if you just kind of want to like walk us through maybe like just moments before that happened, and just like what was happening within your mind while that was playing out. And you know, because obviously security was trying to get you out of there, and some people were genuinely kind of like freaked out by it and stuff, but like what did you feel was being accomplished through that, and especially the whole like stop buying stuff, you know, like anti like commercialism, materialism sort of thing. But yeah, just anything that you want to talk about. I think that was a really cool moment.
It was raining a lot that day at Union Square, and it was, you know, it was kind of upsetting because there was a lot of people out on the park and they kept going away because of the rain. So then I bumped into this a friend, and he does like, it's just weird. He didn't have his camera equipment with him or anything. He just had his iPhone. But he's a guy who actually videotapes people to do like prank videos and stuff. And I saw him, and you know, I was just going on my, you know, I was playing with people for an hour before I met him, and I was in this I don't know, it's real, you know, when I'm performing, and then things are going good, I get in this, you know, very inner child kind of state, and I was like, you know what, let's just go into some stores and just fool around and just have some fun, you know, and then I was thinking, what can I do? I'm gonna bash this drum, and I'm just gonna randomly go in with, you know, my bathing suit and stuff, and I'll surprise people, and so I was reminded of this guy who's done this in the past. His name is Reverend Billy, and he brought a choir into a Starbucks, and they sung why everybody's focused on food products and other products, and nobody's being focused on this simple human connection between, you know, brother and sister, and not emphasizing that, you know, real love, and that was a very inspirational video. So I just said, you know, I'll just do something simple like, stop buying stuff, love is the answer, you know, and with the drum, and you know, that was what was exciting. And then, you know, the first one, the Whole Foods, I just got kicked out right away, and I was outside, and I still had a lot of energy. I said, let's just go into the next store. You know, you heard me. Let's go to Forever 21. And then I just went in, and what was cool about that store was there was music playing. So then I was thinking, you know, let's try to get everybody to dance with me. And I snuck into the cash register, and you know, it was funny because everybody in the cash register box, they just screamed and all hugged each other, but people were laughing. So you know, I've done this for so long. As you know, it's cool that people are somewhat scared, but as long as people are laughing too, I feel I'm in a safe place. You know,
mm-hmm.
It's like a technique. I performed in the beginning, and people are sometimes scared of me. I just got to accept it, but I use it as a technique to draw people in. So.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Now, I would actually, having you on the show here, I'd like to be able to invite you, Matthew, if you can, if you're cool with that, just being able to like sort of like switch in to that character. And again, like it's interesting because like you don't, you yourself, you don't really have like a name for that other side of yourself, the one who's on the street. Like it's still, you know, based on the way you present yourself, it's still Matthew Silver sort of thing. But yeah, if you just want to like switch into the role of the Wackadoodle, and maybe even just sort of like channel some stuff, I'd really be curious to do that, and we'll do that in the next couple minutes. For the moment being, we'll bring on our buddies from the Love Trip, and we'll just check back in with them and just see if there's anything else that they want to add to this conversation. And just one thing that I wanted to say that was just like kind of really cool was just that, like, for those of you who don't know, as part of a side job, and again, this is why like I really respect what Matthew does. Like, I'm also a performer in my own way. On weekends, often I'll dress up as a superhero for kids' birthday parties with the company that I'm with, and oftentimes I'm Spider-Man or I'm Batman or I'm Captain America or whoever. And today I was Spider-Man, and I always tell the kids like an important moral within the story. I'll tell them a story, and the story that I was really emphasizing was like, I was asking them, I was like, okay, so I had to like beat up the bad guy, so I had to use like my most powerful superpower of all, and I was like, do you know what superpower that was? And of course they were like asking, and they're like electronic webs or something, or like spider bombs, and I was like, no, like it's the power of the heart. It's the power to love. It's the power to be able to let people know that you care, that you see them. And then a little bit later in the party, I was just talking to some kids, and we were just kind of hanging around, and I was like, oh yeah, like you guys should like use your free hug powers more often. And then like just as I said that, like these kids, they were just like 7, 8 years old, and they just started, they're like free hugs, and then they just like started hugging each other, and then like just spontaneously, like I didn't instruct the kids to do this, but just like within their childlike nature, like literally just like 5 or 6 kids just like clustered together and started like hugging each other. And to me, it was just a really genuine thing within that moment, and I just thought it was super cool because, like, again, this child nature, this playing and things like that, so much of what we're doing, we're peeling back the layers, and that's where, again, what Matthew is doing, this radical art, is giving us that reflective lens to see the boundaries that we have created within ourselves in the first place. Because, like, it was really interesting. When I first saw Matthew's video, literally within the first 10 seconds, and this is just me being honest, I saw it, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is just like a video of like a drunk homeless guy. Like, that was my honest thought. And then I'm just like, wait a second. And then I start hearing what you're saying, and you're just like, love is the answer. And you're like, eye contact. And then, among the other things. And then I was like, oh, this is really cool. But again, like, even within myself, within that first moment, there was like some sense of judgment that still lingered within me. And it's not like a negative or a positive thing, but through being able to observe Matthew's character, I was able to observe that judgment was there in the first place. So, I mean, just be aware of whatever judgment you're holding onto within your own life, just with other people who people who you might run into at work, people who you might run into at school, and you see them and you catch yourself saying like, be like, oh, like, I don't like the way that person is dressed or the way they do that sort of thing, and just check in with yourself and just see what judgments may be shaping your perception of reality. Because the more judgments that you have, I think the more filtered it becomes and the less you see of what's actually there. Because somebody who is like super judgmental would have just been like, oh, I'm not listening, like I'm just turning off this video. But then we have to sort of be able to let go, which I think is, again, it's just a really cool process, because Matthew's work gives people the opportunity to see the judgment within themselves and then to be able to let go of it. So that's super cool. So we're going to bring on our buddies from the Love Trip, and and then maybe we'll hear a little bit from the Wackadoodle himself. So we'll bring Alon and the boys back on. There he is. All right, so Alon and them, you got. Hey guys, you're back on air. You guys hear us?
Yes.
Hey dudes. Just anything you guys want to add? Just checking in, seeing how you guys are doing.
It's good actually. We just got in the car and I just wanted to share like this little experience. Just a second, I'm putting me on speaker. Just a second. Wait.
Okay. Now everybody's on.
Oh, that sounds better too.
And I just walked listening to your words and your conversation, and there was one guy who was just walking in front of me, and he literally like tried to keep not being in eye contact with me, and I was like persistent.
Alon, you did something, and now you're really quiet.
Oh, can you hear now?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. So he was literally trying not to be in eye contact with me. And I was like trying to be in contact. He was like feeling a bit uncomfortable, but that's where he the work is, where he was finally trying to having this experience of someone who is looking at him with pure intention. So, but anyway, you talked about kids, and there was one of the most special hugs we got today was from I don't know, he was really small. He was with his mother, and he was like so excited for the free hugs, and he gave me and Oz like a really, really special hug, and it was amazing to get that kind of special hug from a kid, and it's always amazing their energies. And one more thing I want to say about Matthew's work, like the stop buying stuff, love is the answer. It's so simple and accurate. It's so powerful. It's just like just these words it needs to say, and that's it. And that's exactly like what we're all doing actually, is like stop being in this mode you're looking for something and buying stuff. You don't need to look for anything. It's here right now. Someone's offering you a connection. Someone's offering you a show for free. Do it. I mean, what else you got to do? Go buy something else? You're like, go to your next shopping experience. Come on, like, let's wake up. I mean, and that's what we're all doing. And these words like stop buying stuff, love is the answer, is just that accurate words that needed to say. And I remember the first time we did free hugs in Israel, actually. The real first time. We stood in the morning next to a guy who was handing out newspapers for free. Yeah, and it was just a start. We just pick up the signs, and people were so confused by us that, like, they don't know our intentions. They are afraid to talk to us. And, most people got to the newspaper and took the newspaper, before the hugs really started. And that was, that's funny to see that someone's offering you a free hug, but you're so confused. And, I'm going to just take this paper and stick in the mail.
Yeah.
But, experiences. And that's it. That's what we got to say.
Cool. Yeah, for sure, man. And I mean, even just a few episodes back, those of you who may be new to Paradigm Shift Radio, of course, you can go back and you can listen to any of the past episodes. You can go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com. You can go to Facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Radio and check in the tabs. There's a tab there that links you right into all the past episodes. But just a few episodes ago, episode 93, I believe, it was specifically related to what this is about also, which is the topic of social alchemy. And that phrase isn't one that we've used this episode, but just reminding people within this conversation who are listening, and just introducing them to the idea of social alchemy and what that means. And it's the process of like transforming things, transforming social situations, transforming ourselves, transforming our perception of those situations. So yeah, don't need to say too much on that, but I think that's really cool. And then again, even just what Alon was saying, like unplugging people from the matrix, these sorts of vernacular, I mean, with pop culture reference, they are things that help us understand and give motivation to what it is that we are doing. And it gives you that, like, instead of just being like, let's just go down and be like a crazy guy on a corner for a little bit, not just saying Matthew for anyone, but rather, like, hey, we have a mission. Let's go unplug people from the matrix. Like, let's go, like, create some ripples that will turn into waves, because with enough ripples, you can change the tide. And that's actually from the new X-Men movie, and you guys should go see that. It's all about time travel, man. But anyways, like, unplugging people from the matrix is literally, like, what this is. And, like, I'd be curious, well, actually, I mean, not so much of a question, but we got about 30 minutes left in the show. We still have some time to play around, but I'm really curious just to be able to touch in with the Wackadoodle himself, and just be able to ask Mr. Wackadoodle what message, what message he has for the world and for the people who are still living very much in that matrix. Mr. Wackadoodle, if you might be able to give some insight.
Oh, hi. How's it going?
Doing good, man.
Oh, shit.
I love you.
Oh, you love me? Oh, you want a message?
Yeah, man.
You want? All right. Okay. For your heart out. You only live once. Sorry, I can't do this right now. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, man.
I just felt really corny just now.
Would it help if you were to put your bathing suit on? Maybe that's part of it. Maybe.
No, yeah, nobody could see me.
But yeah, man. Actually, I really like and again, not like it's all good, but I like what you do with the fart thing, because I think that really like just it equalizes like the seriousness of a situation, and I've actually I just really like that when it's just like what is the answer, and be like, I have the answer. And then, it's just like a farting noise. And it's just like, wait, what? But at the same time, it's like, well played. But I don't know. I just think it's hilarious.
No, a lot of it is real eye-to-eye contact and then just pausing and then living in the now. Yeah. No, you got it. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Cool.
Shit, I feel like a failure now. I feel like
no, dude, man, like doing it over the radio show. It's a different venue. It's the end of the day. There's no expectations. But I mean, if you wanna go wackadoodle on us and just like share anything, then you're more than welcome to at any point. There's no pressure here. It's totally chill and cool and awesome. So.
Well, the message is live your life. It's important. Don't ever doubt the magic that you have in your heart. It is sacred.
Bravo, yes.
Thanks.
Oh, good one. Yeah, but yeah, man, it's even just like that whole voice and stuff like that. Like, it's is there a particular inspiration behind like just like the way you talk and stuff? Because like, are you trying to sound like a stereotypical homeless person sort of thing? Like,
no, I studied this performance artist. His name is Jack Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy's name is Jack Smith, and he had a similar mission. His life was performance art. It was like this character, and his character was same thing, but he was more stronger. He's also very crazy too, and he would attack people. But his mission, he was anti, the business of life, capitalism, like how it was not, promoting realness and culture and art and creativity. It's always stepping further away, and then you have people trying to remind us, but then capitalism just it just wants to suck things dry, and there'll be I'm not in the politics, but I see that's what it does. It just gets people addicted to the money game.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the people that are on top, when they're on top, it just seems like they're still playing this game, and they're in competition with. It's still like they're at top. They can relax. Why do you have to crush more people? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I like there's something that you said in one of your videos. You mentioned you said this. You said the idea of where culture has overpowered the machine. If you can remember, what did you mean when you said that?
Yes, like that's what's important. That's what cures. Art heals. Culture heals. When it overpowers the machine, that's when that's what we need. We need we need our cultures to be so strong that this machine of life is. I hope that it ends real soon.
The machine of life. What do you mean by that?
This buying stuff, going home, go to sleep, work 5 to 9, go to sleep, wake up again, do the same thing. It's just, and then maybe you get the weekend off or only one day off. But people are so burnt out from work, even when you get the weekend off, you barely have any free time to create this, the culture and the magic. So, and we tricked ourselves into thinking that that's the only way. It's not the only way.
Yeah. And I like and again, like, just pulling some stuff from things I've heard you talk about before, but you said, like, the idea that local is global. That local is global. I really like that, because a lot of people, they say, like, hey, I want to change the world, but how am I supposed to help people, like, all the way across the ocean in another country from all the way over here? I mean, obviously, there's ways and stuff like that, but I think one of the more immediate ways to affect the global scale is to engage and transform your local community and stuff like that. I'd just be curious as to, like, like, when just more on, like, what you were referring to when you said the idea of, like, local is global.
Your power is only going to be affected by the people people the most, and that's how you grow on what you know. So that's how you can't. Don't think that you have to be international all of a sudden, and you have to be, like, known from all over. You do the hug thing in your own town, right? London, Canada,
yeah.
Right? So that's it. That's what you're doing, and then and then it just affects the global community because you do the radio show. So, I mean, if you just. The thing is, I'm doing my thing just in New York because that's where I live. So I'm basically just going to a park, acting like a wackadoodle, and a lot of energy is just spreading from one place. I don't have to go to 10 different places.
Yeah, and again,
I'm just telling people, make it simple, make it easy. I don't know, for one of the things that Thoreau said, David Henry Thoreau, he said the man that makes his life simple is a man who succeeds. I'm not stating the quote correctly, but the more simple you make your life, the better off you are. A lot of people like to make their lives complicated.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, a lot of people will be like, hey, I'm unsatisfied, I'm unhappy, and then they'll be like, I know, I need to get more stuff, and then they have that temporary, like, fulfillment, and then they realize that they're, like, further unhappy than what they were, and then they're stuck in this vicious cycle where they're just, like, filling that void with more stuff, they're buying more stuff in a literal sense, whereas, like, yes, true happiness is in the process of, like, relinquishing our relationship and our attachment to stuff. But I like that quote from Thoreau. Like, keeping it simple. That's it. Totally. Yeah, just keep it simple. Like, changing the world is not a super complicated thing if you're just trying to do what you can in your area. There's lots of ways to take that conversation. Now, one thing I'm actually I'm interested, Matthew, just kind of within, like, this realms and topic of the machine, and it's kind of a touchy subject, so to speak, but you yourself are a professional wackadoodle, and for the people watching this means that in the themes of busking and the performance artist, you accept donations from people on the street while you do your thing, and that's part of what helps you sustain yourself as an artist. I'm just curious though, like, what is your relationship with the idea of, like, money, so to speak, and having to, like, have, like, a donation bin next to you while you do your performance? Do you find some sort of, like, conflict, and if so, like, how do you sort of resolve that within yourself?
Yeah. Well, this year I got lucky. There's this organization called Franklin Furnace, and it's called Making Avante Guards Safe for the World, and I got lucky. I received a grant from them. So right now I'm not focused on getting tips or donations from people. But in the past, I've had the bucket out, and somebody and then a lot of times sometimes I wasn't receiving a lot of donations, and I started to feel like I wasn't doing a good job performing. But it ended up affecting my psychology. Just because you don't get enough tips in the bucket doesn't mean you're not doing a good job. So currently I don't bring out the bucket because the focus is for me to make people laugh in a very real community, interaction experience and stuff. Money is always an issue, but when people give it, if people give it and I don't even have a bucket, I take it because I know that person is trying to give me something out of love, But I'm not even asking for it. People give it to me. Like someone gave me $10, and I just see it as an act of love, But I'm not asking for it. But I'm not going to turn it away.
Yeah.
So that answers your question.
It does, man. Because being an artist is a very tricky thing, especially in a society where we don't always feel super supported as an artist. We sort of feel like we're kind of going against the system, but that is part of what motivates us. That's part of what keeps us going, because we know we're not just doing it for the money. We know that the reason behind doing it is because of the fact that art is magic in a very literal sense. And I think that's obvious with what it is that you do, with what it is that so many of us are capable and are doing, who are listening to this show right now. So for the people listening to this, just check in with yourself. What can you do? What art can you create to help change the world? I just love the idea that art is such a powerful tool in this day and age. It is something that will literally be able to transform people's impressions on multiple levels. So with that said, we only got about 16 minutes left in the show as it is right now, and I just got to take care of a couple things to fill you guys in on some super awesome stuff, and then we'll continue the conversation. And then we do have the option to conclude with a meditation at the end, which Michael could sort of walk us into. But unless I'll just check in with Matthew. Matthew, would you want to lead us into any sort of reflective moment of silence / meditation or anything? I didn't ask you beforehand, but
wait, what do you want me to do? Say something in the?
It's sort of, it might be kind of weird just to sort of we didn't prearrange it and stuff like that, but we usually do a meditation during the episode and just sort of centering people and focusing in on their breath and stuff like that. But maybe we could time it up where maybe Michael could introduce it and then maybe you could say some things over top of it or something. We might be able to just go with the flow. So we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. That won't be until the last 6 minutes of the show. But with only 15 minutes left in the show, I just want to let people know that what we do here at Paradigm Shift Radio every week to help support the community is that we give away the opportunity for people to win free shift buttons. And again, the shift buttons are part of one of the ways that we have used to help unplug people from the matrix. And long story short, if you go to paradigmshiftcentral.com/buttons, you can always order these for yourself. And they're 2¼ inch buttons, and they have conscious evoking symbolism on them. So you have things like the flower of life, the yin yang symbol, the eye of Ra, Buddha meditating, things that are recognizable symbols that people will see and that you can wear on your backpack or wear on your shirt and give to people as a gift. And then they also have the website for paradigmshiftcentral.com, so they can link people right back into this episode so they can find out about Matthew's work and the whole global project that we have got going on here. And so, of course, you can order those through the main website, as I mentioned. But if you want to get in on the draw that we have each week, then you can send a message right now to facebook.com/paradigmshiftradio and do that before the end of the show, and we'll enter you into the draw. It's that simple. That's all you got to do. And if you want to be able to support the show, so again, we were just talking about being able to get support as an artist. This is something that show-wise takes a little bit of production time on my end, so your support is greatly appreciated in being able to help get this content out to the world. So just covering the basics, if you want to be able to support this show, then you can do that by going to paradigmshiftcentral.com patreon.com/donate, and you can donate there as either just a one-off contribution, or what we encourage the most is people sign up as a monthly contributor for only about a few dollars a month, and then that way, so it doesn't make a huge dent in your bank account, and everybody wins, and it helps keep us doing what we are doing here through the show and covering the website costs and all that good stuff. So thank you to all the supporters who are already synced up with that through ParadigmShiftCentral.com/donate once again. And yeah, that's all the things I just got to remind you about, and then we'll do the button draw later in on the episode. So with that said, just checking in with Michael. Michael, we haven't heard from you in a little bit. Was there anything else that you just wanted to, thoughts that might have come to mind in the last little bit?
Yeah, well, I actually do have a good idea for the meditation too, that when we get into it, it'll be kind of a different type of meditation, but it'll be one that we can integrate what you were talking about. So it'll be a more fun meditation, because I think it kind of goes with the theme of the show. But okay. I think with this too, like getting out and doing something as simple as smiling at people. So if you don't want to put your Speedos on yet and run out in the streets, you can start just by smiling, because smiling is infectious, and it's an easy thing to do. And making eye contact when you smile, shaking someone's hand, going to a homeless shelter and actually, getting involved with serving food to the clients and talking to people and having conversations. It's not that hard when you start to let down the walls a little bit and let yourself out and let people in. You begin to soften through the heart. So take this show as an inspiration point. And then if you're doing stuff like that, share your experiences in all the various Paradigm Shift Facebook pages. And when you share your experience, you're opening the door for someone else who may be looking for an idea or maybe looking for inspiration. So we have all these various ways of inspiring each other, so we should be using them, all the time. So if you're doing something, post it so we all know what you're doing, and we can take the lead and go out and smile at each other and run through the streets in our Speedos.
So, Matthew, do you notice yourself like kind of trying to do that, like get inside people's bubbles when you're not doing your wackadoodle thing? Do you ever just do that, like on the subway home or anything?
Yeah, I sometimes I look people in the eyes and I try to smile and break the bubble. Just trying to be normal, not trying to be a wackadoodle.
Cool. Well, I do just have kind of just like wrapping up just with a couple more questions here, and we'll just bring on the Love Trip guys back on in a minute. But just going back to a question for you, Matthew, where do you see the future of this performance art for yourself going, and like what do you continue to hope will come out of it for the people who see you doing what you do, whether it be in person or on the internet?
I hope to be a part of the. I believe that the shift in perception is gonna happen. So I just want to be a part of the. We're all on the same team. So I just want to be a part of what you guys are doing. Just I want the entire globe to be love focused. That's it. Let's do that now. It probably does. It's not good. It's probably not a complicated thing. It's probably just almost like people just finally saying, "Yeah, that's it. It wasn't hard. It wasn't. My life wasn't that complicated." You know what I'm saying? Because it is simple. It's eye contact. It's smiling at people. It's making them laugh. It's important. It's important because, the lack of it makes people crazy. It gives them, they get mental disorders like schizophrenia or narcissism or bipolar disease. I really think that's what causes all those mental disorders, a lack of the flow of love. And that's what brings people back to health.
For sure, man. Very, very well said. Yeah, and I think it's so true. It's so true that a lot of like the turmoil within this life is merely just like the absence of love. But love is always there. Love is always ready to shine. And again, like that is the power of the heart. It's literally just like emanating out like beams of love. And even what you were saying, like using the eyes as like the portal to the spirit, to the soul, to be able to connect with one another. These are all really, 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 really positive and have a lot of potential using those techniques to be able to, shift the paradigms. And yeah, like that's, again, this whole shifting of the paradigms, it is about stepping into love. It's about being able to step outside of our own like centricism, our own egocentrism, and saying, because a lot of people will be like so egocentric that they'll think that their life doesn't matter to like the bigger picture sort of thing. But when you sort of like wrap your head around this idea that like we're all telling a part of the story, we're all contributing, you realize that like, yes, I can make a difference. Like there's and the reason behind doing this is the motivation behind being able to help all people. It is a sort of this Buddha nature perspective, once again, of just being able to see the others as you. Like, yes, I am me. Yes, Matthew is Matthew. But when Matthew is there, and when he was talking to a person, and when he was saying eye contact and looking them into the eye, he's trying to get them to like see them in him. Is one way how I interpret it, which I think is a really, really powerful thing. So we'll just set this up. Matthew, is there any just sort of like final notes that you want to touch upon, and then we're going to get into our meditation here, and you'll still be able to get involved with that. But Matthew, just any final things if you just want to hit?
Love now.
Love now. Yeah. Perfect. All right, cool. We'll keep it simple there, and then we'll check in. We're not done the episode yet. Let me just bring on Alon and the guys, and just reminding you, for those of you who wanted to check out with the guys on their love trip, go to facebook.com/GoLoveTrip, and they got lots of awesome stuff going on. So I'm just gonna bring them on, and they're just gonna say their farewell, pretty much. So guys, you're just unmuted now. We only got a couple minutes here, but anything you want to say, and we'll get into our meditation.
Yes, about the buttons, you said it before. I'm telling everyone, get your buttons because they're working amazing. We handed out a lot of today. You gave us, and people were like shocked. And it always the right button comes to the right person. I give people the buttons are upside down. I tell them just use your intuition and pick one. Yeah. And always fit. So get your buttons; they are magic. Also, the simplicity of things, of connecting people. Michael said it. You said it. Matthew talked about it. Smiling and eye contact is the most simple and important stuff. There are many tactics to get this eye contact and smiling going, but literally uniting, having this of this connection, of action of connection, you can say, of any sort, is what making the change, is what's shifting the paradigm. Because like we said when we did the free hugs in London, the first day of Love Trip, I told you, like, where there's separation, there should be an operation. Like where there's separation, you operate, and this is so important. And you're all amazing people. I want to thank you for being on the show, and please check out our page. And right now we are self-funded, so if you want to help us also, there's the GoFundMe link in our page, and we would love your support. And we all just want to say thank you and hug you.
Thank you.
Yes, bless you. Love you.
Hey Oz, hey Abby, right on. All right, guys, thank you so much, guys. And we'll definitely check in with you guys as you continue your love trip. So thank you so much to all you guys, and I'm just gonna put you guys on mute. So those are our buddies from the love trip. And again, you can check out their stuff, facebook.com/GoLoveTrip. You'll find the links for that in the show note and everything. All right, okay, so now we're gonna go into our meditation. Or actually, so just checking in. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know if that was Michael or Matthew, but anyways, okay. So I'm just going to do the button draw real quick, and within this time that I do the button draw, everybody who's in the live chat who wants to connect with one another, post your Facebook profiles into the live chat right now. So I'm just going to do the button draw for this week. So again, if you want to order some for yourself, support the community, paradigmshiftcentral.com/buttons, and just go to the main website in general. Spend some time checking that out. There's lots of awesome content there, and get involved, be inspired, be involved, be a part of the paradigm shift. So this week's winners Oh, cool. Okay, so this week's winners for the shift buttons are Tiberius and aka Chris. So Chris is going to get a message from me, and we're going to sync him up with the shift buttons. Thank you, everyone, for entering their name into the draw for this week. So with that said, we're going to segue this into the meditation. And Michael, I'm just going to, because we only got literally 4 minutes, so we're going to have to wrap this up. And then afterwards, last note for everybody who's tuned in, there will be an after-party Google video hangout as per usual. Following the show, you'll find a link for that at facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. So you can get involved, you can be involved with the conversation. So I'm going to start playing the music here. Michael, you're going to start doing your thing. And then Matthew, you have the invitation to add your Wackadoodle voice or even just your regular Matthew voice at any point. So I'm just going to stay quiet and just let whatever comes through come through. So Michael, go ahead.
All right.
And
so,
go team.
So let's go ahead and begin centering in on the space around you. And we'll do a little different meditation today since we have the ability to connect through laughter and through that space of joy and connection. So go ahead and close your eyes wherever you are, unless you're driving, and begin to tune into your breath, deep inhales and deep exhales. In your mind space, begin now to focus on something that invokes laughter within you, that invokes play within your experience. Allow yourself now to focus on that. Bring a smile to your face. Allow laughter to move through your body. Invite joy and connection into the breath. Continue focusing on the smiles. Continue focusing on the thing within your mind that brings you that smile. If you feel the desire to laugh, allow yourself to laugh for the next few minutes.
Excuse me as I just jump in over this interactive meditation and just turn this into a final conversation. But Matthew, help me in what are some things that make you laugh, that come to your mind?
Awkward moments.
Awkward moments. Laughter. Ah. Puppy dogs. Puppy dogs with hats. Laughter, laughter, laughter. Farts. Let's hear some farts.
Farts.
Let's hear some farts, Matthew. Give us some free farts. Yeah. Straight from the root chakra right there. Men making noises of animals.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Hairy legs. Hairy armpits.
Hairy armpits.
Hairy butts.
Hairy butts. Cool. All right. We only got about 40 seconds left on the show. We're going to wrap this up. So obviously that wasn't a super official meditation there. Michael, you're unmuted. Matthew, and any last words? We only got 30 seconds. Any last message for the people out there?
You already know.
You are loved, you are beautiful, you are divine.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Of course, you can find the links for everyone through the information. Check out the show. It'll be up on YouTube in the next couple of days. And check out Matthew at maninwhitedress.com. So thank you, Matthew, for being with us. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in the after party hangout. So Matthew and Michael, you guys can join me in officially saying farewell to the internet as I play the outro music here. And until next time. So thank you so much, Internet. So wave to the Internet.
Bye, Internet.
Everyone. Bye, Internet.
Bye, Internet.
Bye, Internet.
Bye.
Bye, Internet.
Be loved. All right. Thanks, guys. Awesome. One love. Cheers.
One love.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. If you would like to connect with people where you are and continue the conversations further, then check out ParadigmShiftCentral.com/buttons to order your supply of shift buttons to share with people to help invite them to this global project while also helping make new friends and building local community where you are. Shift buttons are tools to hack the matrix and tap into the synchronistic nature of reality to accelerate our collective awakening. Enter the promo code PSR into your order to receive additional bonus buttons to your supply. Thank you again, and one love.